Okay, today we are going to do day 2 of reflections, and this is not in our math packet. So I have a bell work for us to do, and then I'm gonna teach you right out of the homework today. So starting with bell work, what we want to talk about here is this grid and this figure. To get us started, my first question on here is, where is the line x equal to? Not the spot, okay? So I want to emphasize that we're talking about a line here. And this is how we figure it out. Let me remind you that the x-axis is this one that's running horizontal, and the y-axis is this one that's running vertical, okay? So the line x equal 2 means we're going to use our x-axis and figure out, okay, if this is 0, x equal to 1, 2 spots away. This is the spot. And what we're going to end up doing for the line is using then that entire line. Okay, so here is, in purple, the line x equal 2. Okay, which means that finding y equals -4 should be very similar. So if you look at your y-axis then, you start by counting at 0, 0 right here. Y equal -4, you go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the spot y equals -4, which means that the line is the line that is running through that spot. Okay, so this is the line y equal -4. The reason sometimes students get confused is that the x lines are perpendicular to your x-axis and the y lines are perpendicular to your y-axis. They're not parallel. Okay, so now that we figured out how to figure out lines other than the x and y axis, we're going to use them to make reflections without a mirror. So my question for number 3 is going to lead us into our lesson today, and that is, how do you reflect triangle ABC across the line x equal 2 without using a mirror? And this is what you do. So ABC right here is already drawn in for you, and we want to reflect it across this purple line, x equal 2. In order to do that without the mirror, we have to count the squares. So we have to force our brains, first of all, to block everything out except for this purple line and this triangle. So pretend everything else is not there. And then you count. Okay, so point A right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units away from our purple line. And it's 7 units to the left. So to reflect it over that, I need to make A prime 7 units over to the right. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is where A prime should go. We do the same with point B. We count how many units is point B from our purple line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means point B needs to be 5 units now to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So point B prime goes right here. And last but not least, point C. Point C is 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left of the purple line. To reflect it then, we need it to be 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the right. So here's C prime. And then you take your handy dandy ruler, reattach the points that you've just drawn, and you get a perfect mirror image of your original. And that is reflected not over the axis this time, but over the line y equals 2. If you were to fold this up on the purple line, it would line up exactly, so one triangle would kiss the other one. Okay, so that's to get us started. You can save this bell work for your notes. In fact, I recommend doing that, and you can use it on your next test. And what we want to do next is get out our homework. And our homework looks like this. It says graph, reflection, label, image, and give new coordinates. That looks like help almost, but that says new. And we're going to start on this side. So I'm going to start us with number 1 to show you what to do. And then hopefully that'll be enough to get you through the rest of the worksheet. So I'm going to zoom us in. I have already put these in purple, and I've already highlighted our x-axis so that you can see it a little bit better. So my first one says reflection across the x-axis, which is why I highlighted that x-axis in orange. We're going to use that as our reflection line. And what we have to reflect is the points G, L, and Q. The prime of it, and Q is on the other. So it makes it a little confusing. But let's do what we know how to do. Let's start with L. L is 2 units above the x-axis. So to reflect it below, we need to move it so that is now 2 units below the x-axis. So here's point L prime. And then I'm going to move to G. G is now 1, 2, 3, 4 units above the x-axis. To reflect it over, we need to make it so that it is 4 units below. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's G prime. Now here's our little problem child there, Q. Q now is below the x-axis already. So to reflect it, we are actually going to reflect it above it. So Q is 1 below the x-axis, and we're going to now reflect it so that it is 1 above the x-axis. Here is Q prime. And when you reconnect them, yep, they're going to overlap your original figure, and they're also going to overlap your x-axis. But that's okay. It's supposed to. So now you have this, it's almost looking like a butterfly image, but it is a reflection. If you were to fold along this x-axis, the L would land on the L prime, the G would land on the G prime, and the Q and the Q prime would also land on each other. Okay, maybe I ought to do one more just to be safe. So let's go to number 2. Number 2 says reflection across y equals 3. Don't forget, this is your x-axis, this is your y. So we want to use this line right here to find our spot. So y equals 3, and I should probably do orange again. Y equals 3, we're going to go up. 1, 2, 3. That's the spot. And now we're going to use this entire line as our reflection line. Okay, this is y equals 3. And now we're going to do the same thing that we just did in the last one, because we have points above and below. That's a U, this is an X, I think, and an L. Above and below. So I'm going to start with point L. L is 2 units below my orange line, so I want to reflect it so it's 2 units above, and it lands right on the U, so this is now L prime. It can do that. We can have them in the same location. Now I'm going to do U. U is 2 above, which means it needs to reflect 2 below. So another one that lands in the same location, that's okay. And last but not least, we have X, which is 2 units above the our orange line. We need to reflect it 2 units below. So here's X prime. And now let's reconnect. My dots are red so you can easily see them. I'm going to reconnect my primes. And guess what? It is going to look identical. It is just flipped the other way, and it's overlapping quite a bit. Again, that's okay. That's what we want. If we were to fold along this line, yep, X would land on X prime, and U would land on U prime, and L would land on L prime, and that's what we're looking to do. For the rest of the worksheet, that's exactly what I'm looking for. The only difference here between in 5 and 6 is that you have to make your original first, and then do the reflection. So we should have 2 images on 5 and 6 that you're drawing by the time you're done. Okay, hopefully this helps. Hopefully you can get through this. If you have questions, please make sure that you come and see me and ask me tomorrow. Good luck.